What's going on, everybody? We are live. How? I think we're live. What is that?
Wait, I was just doing the robot. You can't really
The
tell
robot.
what I'm doing because of the camera's only picking up like half, like a quarter of the movements. But yeah,
It
uh,
looked like Bridget's version of Kung Fu.
she actually just got
How?
home like an hour and a half ago. Um,
Nice.
how are
How's it?
you? How was your week?
I busy. I mean, first of all, other than the 914 announcements that have come out, I
Really? Is that how many?
no, but God,
Oh,
it certainly feels like it. But work has been crazy. Life has been crazy at home. We just super busy doing everything that we possibly can. I had last week off, so the transition back to work is always kind of rough.
yeah.
Go
I
back in from 1 week, I had hundreds of emails to go through.
hundreds,
Oh yeah, I get probably 65 emails a day when I'm not there even.
and you have to go through those.
Every single one.
Feels like me and people messaging the restaurant.
And I get less than I used to now. Back in my last position, I would get 120 a day, no questions asked.
I have like 170,000 unanswered emails on my phone.
I can't do that.
I actually turned messages. I turned the email notifications off for the Fleetwood Facebook page for the weekend because I was like, I can't. Just the dumbest fucking questions. Do you guys have anything other than pizza? Do you guys
No,
have Greek? Do you guys have Greek food? I want to be
don't have
like,
a menu.
nah. Do we have Greek food? That's you stupid fuck. I
What's
have
going on,
been.
Foo? What's going
What's
on,
going on,
Jeff?
Jeff,
Hey,
Sardis,
Sardis.
Dave, John, and the Cohen brothers are here too.
That's the triplet. There's Joel, Ethan, and then this is Nikolai Cohen.
Nikolai Cohen. I've been this week's been awesome. I haven't slept today. I slept for more than 4 hours for the first night, and since Elden Ring came out, um, my probably my most anticipated game um, of the year, and I it's so good. Every time I start to doubt From Software, who makes the Dark Souls games, they made Sekiro, which I have the corrupted monk tattooed on my arm. They made Bloodborne. Every time that they make a game outside the Dark Souls series, I'm like, are they gonna nail it? Like when Bloodborne got announced, I was like, are they gonna nail this gothic London feel? And I was like, oh, they did. It's like 18th century gothic English feel, and they nailed it. And then when say Sekiro got announced, and they were like, hey, we're trying different combat. I was like, are they gonna be able to nail that? And then now with Elden Ring, they made an open world game, and they've never made an open world game. And when it first got announced, I was like, how are they going to make their open world feel different? Because I hate open world games. Have you played like Assassin's Creed at
Nope.
all? When you open up the map on Assassin's Creed, there are, I'm not kidding, thousands of little dots of shit to do, but it's all like repetitious stuff. It's like go
Right.
collect X amount of this, go help this person. It's like the same stuff over and over again, and they all don't matter at all to the story. They don't all matter to the game at all. They're just that's just stuff for you to do um, to like overpopulate what it's just stuff that you need to. It's just stuff that you can do. You don't need to do it, but they do it to keep you busy to keep you playing the game. And for some people, stuff to do in those open world games is a lot of fun. I think Ghost of Tsushima balanced it very well, where the open world felt very lived in because you're in a Japanese island getting invaded. I think that's a really good open world. Zelda Breath of the Wild was one of those games where if you see it, you can go to it. You don't have to go to the main plot points. But even in that game, the stuff that you were doing was how's it? Oh, I will get there, Jeff. I will get there because it feels but but in Zelda, even the stuff that you were doing in Zelda ended up being the same thing. You're going to these temples, you're doing the same puzzles over and over again. There's 100 of them. They're all different though, but it's the same thing. You're doing these puzzles. It didn't feel like a real world. In Ghost of Tsushima, as much as I love that open world, it's very much you have to follow the story path to unlock the full island. But with Elden Ring, when you step foot in the game, you can literally go anywhere. And I have about 6 friends on Discord that are all playing it at the same time. All of us didn't get to the first main story boss, and our maps look entirely different. All of us went different directions. All of us went and did different things, and it's it feels like the game that you dreamed of since you were a kid. Like I haven't had this much fun with a video game. I haven't been this wowed with a game um, since I honestly can't even remember. Skyrim, I don't like Skyrim. I think Skyrim is actually a bad game. I think Oblivion is the last good Bethesda game. I think Skyrim was very dumbed down. I think the story sucked. But with this game, if like you see it, you can go to it. And there's so many hidden paths, so many hidden items, uh, amazing weapons. I picked the samurai class, of course, and my whole point, and I named him Ogami Ito. Um, did I play Red Dead? Yes. Red Dead felt like a lived-in real world. That felt great. This feels like the best fantasy world any game has ever had in it, and I am just constantly blown away. Um, like for instance, on the map, there are islands that you can see if you're standing like in the water, but you can't swim. So you're like, oh, that's just there to look at, right? But there's an island off to the left hand side of the game that you can actually get to by going in through some random tunnel caves. And you're just going through these caves, you're fighting, fight a couple bosses, and when you get to the other side, you're on that island. And that island is actually where you can kill dragons and you take their hearts to this island and you can get special weapons, special magic powers and stuff. And then I think probably the coolest thing, and all my friends have experienced this exact moment. But there's a part in the forest where there's a pack of bears, and they're like cocaine bears. They're like massive. They're fucking aggressive. They're mean. And if you run past them, there's this little church, and the little church has a little elevator. And when you hit it and you go down, you literally get teleported into another world. It takes like 2 minutes for the elevator to go fully down. And while it was happening, I was like, great, is my game glitched? Like, what's happening? But when you get there, you're in another world with its own map, and it goes under the entirety of the main map. And it's such a big underground that it has its own stars in it. Um, yeah, Ryan is thinking about something like that. But the lore, to tie it back into visual like movies and TV shows, the lore was written by George R. R. Martin.
In other words, it's unfinished.
No, have you ever played Dark Souls?
No.
So the way that From Software, this company, tells its story is very vague. I think Sekiro was a very straightforward story. And I think that showed that they can do that, and it was a great story. But most of their games are told through like interacting with the world, reading item descriptions, talking to certain people. You're not getting told like a movie, or it's a very untraditional like way to tell a plot. And this world is filled with just so many cool little Easter eggs. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of Berserk, the anime and manga, and the creator died last year. There's actually a graveyard that you can find where it's giant swords in the ground, and when you go up to one of the graves, it says "Here rests Mira," or "Here rests Lord Mira," which is the creator of Berserk's last name. I can't play those hard as balls games. Bloodborne broke my soul. So Maximus, I would say this one is probably the easiest game because you can go anywhere. So if you're getting your ass kicked, just walk the other direction, fight some lower level enemies, and level up. Like literally right away, the moment you walk into the world, there is a fucking boss that you're not supposed to fight. The boss is there to show you, get the fuck out of here, go do something else, come back and kick his ass. It's this big knight on horseback, like giant. I'd rather be playing with my wife's Elden Ring, if you catch my drift. I don't know, man. This game's really fucking good. Like no, but just I think it might be if it continues like this. Are giant swords heavier than normal? Yes. So there are it's very much Dungeons and Dragons stats. Like you have a strength stat, you have a stamina stat, intelligence, dexterity, faith, arcane, endurance. and one of those stats, I think it's endurance, affects how much you can carry. So as long as your endurance stat is, you know, high, you can have a giant sword. You can dual wield two giant swords. This is how George R. R. Martin is in this game. There is a sword made up of little swords. There's a big ass sword made up of other swords. Just epic boss fights. The first main story boss is this guy named Godric the Golden. And he used to be Godric the Golden, and then he went mad and he started taking his enemy's body parts and grafting them onto his body. So his name is Godric the Grafted. I actually know, like, I'm not kidding. My wife left and went to her mother's on Sunday, and I stayed home all day yesterday. You guys know how much I work. Ryan knows how much I work, and I told him how much I had in this game already. 20 hours. I have not slept. I have not been this hyped about a video game in so long. Yeah. So the first story boss. I'll just say one more thing before we wrap up here, because I know nobody here cares about video games. There's a boss named Godric the Grafted, and when you fight him, when you first meet him, he's looking at a big severed dragon head. He's like, "Oh, sweet dragon," or some shit, some George R. R. Martin like language, and he's talking to it, and he pulls out this giant axe. I mean, massive axe. And when he takes off his cloak, he's got all these dead people's arms, and they all move, and they like can grab weapons and shit. It's really cool. But when you get him to half health, there's another cutscene. We're talking about Elden Ring. Then when you get him to half health, he takes that big axe and cuts his other arm off, takes that bloody stump, sticks it into a severed dragon head. The dragon head comes to life, and then the second phase of the boss battle, he's just spewing fire everywhere. But if you kill him, you get the axe and you get the severed dragon head. So my samurai guy has a samurai sword and he has a severed dragon head on his other arm, and it's fucking awesome. This game is so much fun. I would recommend it. Highly recommend it. There's an area in the map that I accidentally walked to by accident. Like, I was just like exploring, and took your rec flip and binge Mayor Kingstown of the weekend. What a wholesome show. Yeah, my favorite part was the 8-year-old getting burned alive in the meth house that blew up. That was a fucking wholesome ass moment in that show. But yeah, there's one last thing. There's a whole area that I walked to that literally made me shit my pants, because it's an entire area, like massively a mess, filled with dozens of dragons, and they're massive and they will fuck you up. But yeah, Elden Ring, highly recommend it.
All right. So we're going to talk about pickups. I know Flip has one, but I will go with mine
You
first,
go
since
first.
you just had the floor. One that I know that you loved, and I literally just got this today, so I'm stoked. I think I'm going to watch this week. I finally got in Titan, and
that's speaking of wholesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to.
You haven't seen it?
This movie. Nope. I've purposely been waiting for the blue.
I cannot wait. We should cover that movie for an episode when you watch it.
Okay, I can do that.
Good.
Next one is one that I believe you had. The Warriors 2 and the Prodigal Son.
Yeah.
Got that in today. This is, first of all, heavy for a Eureka release. Like, there is
2
a
discs.
lot in here. Yeah.
2 discs.
One that is really interesting, and I love these kinds of Blu-rays, and it's rare that we get stuff like this, but I got Goblin, the band, live performing in Austin.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch this. This looks freaking amazing. And
didn't Goblin do the soundtrack for Shogun Assassin?
I don't know about Shogun Assassin. I know a lot of Italian stuff. Another Asian one. I don't think you've seen this one yet, but I loved One Cut of the Dead, so I had to get Beyond the Infinite 2 minutes from.
I haven't seen it, but I have it,
and I've heard it's great. So stoked on that one. And then the last one, kind of a cool one, and I know that kind of, wanted to share this on this show rather than mine, because especially on this show, I talk about the most wide range, just bullshit stuff on here. Analog Love. We've talked about music a lot. Analog Love is a documentary, speaking of tonight's theme, about how we communicate through music and like making mixtapes and things like that. And some really cool stuff. Like Henry Rollins is heavily involved in it, and there's a
I like
tour of
it.
his massive cassette collection and a whole bunch of that stuff. It was directed by Rob Galuzzo, the guy that was on the Shockwaves podcast before it went down. Yeah, lots of really cool stuff on there. So
Speaking of Henry Rollins, Heat 2, I'm excited because he's in Heat 1. Um, uh, we also Sardis said he binged Mayor of Kingstown. Did you like it, Sardis? I'm guessing he said watch it straight through. That means Titan is nuts. Speaking recommended by Flip, I ordered Duel to the Death. Fucking great movie, and Ricky O. And Foo is covering Prodigal Son on this week's podcast. Can't wait.
nice.
I only got one thing in. I got Black Cat from 88 Films. I have to say, I watched this the other night. I don't understand why this got this premium. I really don't. It doesn't.
It is a really nice release.
It's not a good movie. I bought it because any Asian movie that 88 in your Rika put out, I'm gonna pick up. But man, I got this. I was like, what? It was so boring that I turned on the commentary my first watch. I was like, this fucking sucks.
I mean, it looked really good. I thought
it looked really good,
like really risque and nice, but
there are parts in it where I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, it feels like a slightly higher brow Canon Films movie. Like, and I don't understand. Like, none of the people that are involved in this seem to like really go on and do anything else. So
right.
it's
not
just
a
like
groundbreaking movie or anything.
yeah,
like
it's not like Ricky O or even like the stuff that I don't like was Ghost, that the other two Cat 3 movies that 88 put out. Yeah, even those were like, okay, I get it. Cat 3 movies are special. This was just like, it's not risque enough to be a Cat 3 movie.
Right, and see,
when
they first announced this, I thought it was a Cat 3 movie.
That's what I thought too, and I was like, oh, cool. And I mean, it's loaded with special features. I mean, it's got 2 commentaries alone, I think. It's got commentary by Mike Leader.
Their friend Frank Jang.
And Frank Jang, yeah. So, I mean, you get 2 commentaries. You get an interview with Jade Lung. You get a newly restructured trailer. Like, you get a bunch of shit. You get a book. It's just, they went all out. And it's just, yeah, Fu said it's a shame. It's not like, I mean, it's not like terrible, but man, I was expecting, like, for a premium release, you're expecting the movie to be at least good, you know? Other than that, I did watch, I don't know if I talked about this last week. I watched Skinny Tiger and Fatty Dragon.
Jeff is asking if it's horror.
No, I mean, there's maybe slight body horror. She gets like an implant in her.
Isn't it like a wannabe erotic thriller, even though it's not super erotic?
Yeah, it's like Nikita.
And then Sardis says, educate me about Cat 3 movies, not sure what they are. And basically, Cat 3 is the Hong Kong version of NC-17. And they are notorious for being so, adult rated for a specific reason. For something like Ebola syndrome, obviously there's 19 reasons for it to be a Cat 3, but
wholesome movie. Except it feels like they, like, here in the States, at least in Western culture, that NC-17 label, there's not that many NC-17 movies. It feels like they embraced the Cat 3 rating and they were like, we're Cat 3. And like, I would say the only Cat 3 movie that I genuinely think is a good piece of film is Ricky O. The other ones are just fun. Ebola Syndrome's not very fun, but it's a very shocking experience. Robotrix and Erotic Ghost Story aren't my thing, but they're still fun. You know what I mean? Like, they're fun. And I think Ricky O is the only one that's released so far that is just pure action violence.
Right.
That's why it's rated Cat 3. But even to like today's standards, it's not that shockingly violent. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That one scene where he grinds that dude up and the blood's going everywhere, that's like the only thing.
Right, but then there are things like Dragged by Concrete or Dragged on, whatever it's called. It's
Brawl in Cell Block 99, where he drags the dude's face.
Yeah. And a lot of that I would say is worse, and that's obviously because the effects are better, so it looks more
The
realistic. But
moment you said that, I can hear that sound of his face. Oh, that.
the
Oh
thing
man.
is, you already hit on it. NC-17, it's not like exploited here. I think
No.
that it was exploited in Hong Kong for the Cat 3 because it was Cat 3, it would get more eyes on it. Here, if something is rated NC-17, it doesn't go to fucking theater. So they don't want it to be NC-17. What they would do is they would chop it down for an R to be in theaters and then sell it as unrated on the home video market,
Also,
which is pointless.
I feel like uh, Asian culture in general across the board really embrace like the shocking sex and violence stuff that we didn't.
Ex- Except
You know what
porn
I
is
mean?
pixelated.
You know. That's why I have an obsession with Pac-Man. Now, little pixels.
That's why I was thinking about it.
No, but like I mean, like you look at any Asian country, South Korea, Japan, Hong Kong, to get people into the seats at a certain time in their histories, in their country's cinematic history, they go to levels of extreme violence, like that are just like shocking. Like the Lone Wolf and Cub series, they had to make those movies extremely bloody
Right.
because everybody was just sitting at home watching TV. They had to get butts in seats. Same with Hong Kong.
I agree.
Did you watch anything noteworthy?
Uh Probably. Because I was off, I watched a lot more than normal. First off, over the weekend I watched the VSA release of Fortress of America and put a review out on my channel. Fun movie. Randomly much better than I expected. I watched last year's Antlers, which
Is that good?
it has this weird reputation. Everybody seemed to hate it, and to get to the point of it, it is a modern folk horror story about the Wendigo, and it is not bad. Like, I don't understand all the vitriol that it got. I think that it was hated a lot because it was supposed to come out in like 2019 and it got
Yeah.
delayed until 2021. But it wasn't bad. They used a lot of practical effects. There was really the most memorable part, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, so I'll let it go. But near the end of the film, there's a part with the Wendigo, and they're actually showing the creature. And because of the way that they sort of tweaked the Wendigo lore and how it works and all that, he had the skin of somebody's face over his face, and the way that they filmed it was really really good, and it was quite shocking, and that sounds appalling, but it because it was done practically, it looked great, and I am just shocked that they did it, especially for a film that is now owned by Disney and not Fox, because it was originally supposed to be Fox, and it was one of those one of the reasons it got delayed because it was involved in the merger. So yeah, it was surprisingly decent. I don't understand the hate for it.
You want to talk about Vinegar Syndrome briefly? Because you had a little, you had a gripe with them before we went on air.
It's well, it's kind of a gripe. I mean, first off, we've talked about how many partner labels they have and everything growing, but the
18,
big thing,
right?
no, I think we're at 23.
Are you fuck? Are you fucking kidding me?
18 was the last time we talked about this, and I think that was in like October. In November, I think we got two, and then in December we got two extra.
What in
Yeah,
the world?
it's wild. So the big thing for me is VSAs. VSAs used to be the special random video store relics that you would get that are out of nowhere. When they first started, it was like 4 or 5 a year, and now every time there's a sale, first of all, they're releasing two of them, but we're also getting like one every single month. So it they feel less special, and it just feels so much more exploited. But they announced another Billy Blanks title. We just gosh, was it the Black?
PC
Yeah,
2000.
it was the
It was
Black
October.
Friday sale.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So we got one at the Black Friday sale, and then we got another one announced today. In my opinion, do it just like Tiger Claws. Put them in the same package. Raise the
Yeah,
price like $4, four or
yeah.
five
Because
bucks.
I was telling you, they're bad movies, but they have a charm to them because they're so bad. and I'll
Right.
pick up this one. But you had a good point. Bundle them together because they're not worth. Is it also VSA, this new Billy Blanks one?
They don't do anything like that as part of the Vinegar Syndrome line, like ever. The Vinegar Syndrome line has a very it's not super specific, obviously, because they've done like art house type and a lot of horror, obviously. But the action ones like that, like the most they've dove into action before is like Raw Force, and even that, it's not the cheesy type of Billy Blanks action. It's more like
Whoa, whoa,
uh,
whoa! Billy Blanks is an action icon. You call him
it
cheesy?
it's more like silly type, and not Raw Force is a completely different beast. But anyways, they did it with Tiger Claws. We got the whole trilogy in November. Why not do the Tiger Claws trilogy and then two Billy Blanks as a doubleheader?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. But I'm gonna pick it up. I want to see more stuff. I would love to see Vinegar Syndrome transition into a action only label. Quit
Well,
releasing horror movies.
I know for a fact there's more Cynthia Rothrock coming.
Oh yeah, I mean that's pretty much a given. Someone let that slip?
It was Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh yeah, did she really say that?
Yep.
That's awesome. So I wonder if that's going to be a single release or like a box set, maybe a double feature.
I doubt it'll be a box set.
The Cynthia Rothrock box set. The most confusing woman. I can't tell if she's attractive.
It kind of depends on the day, and if you... Nah, I don't want to go into that next sentence. So anyways, our topic for tonight, we have hardly talked about documentaries at all. And I, for one, I love me a really good documentary. So what I wanted to do is share 5 documentaries that mean something to us, not necessarily like they're super personal for us, but just 5, like we did recently, 5 that we want to shed a light on. And if you haven't seen them, we just want to share and maybe get the word out and see if you can go track them down. I know a few of mine are on streaming, so I
Most
was
of mine
gonna...
are. All of them. I think most of them. Do you want me to go first?
Sure, go ahead. Let's go one at a time.
I am when it comes to documentaries, I am a Midwestern white girl. I love true crime. Love true crime. I listen to true crime podcasts. I watch documentaries. And one that blew me away. I went into the story blind. Was Jinx. I think I talked about it
Yep.
on the show. Went in completely blind and binge watched it in a week. I was just hooked. And funny enough, he died a couple months ago. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it just blew me away. I was like, what in the world is going on? And then that ending. I've never seen an ending, even in a regular movie.
It
Like
was such a great ending.
if you put that in a movie, you would have said that's too good to be true. That wouldn't
Yep.
have happened, and it fucking happened. Can I spoil the ending to this documentary?
I
Because
mean, it's been out and about by a lot of other places before us.
uh, this guy killed his wife in the 80s, and got away with it forever. And at the end of the episode, he didn't realize he was still mic'd up, and he goes
Well,
to
and
the back.
remember, he killed 2 other people
Yes,
also on... I was gonna say on top of his wife, but that was gonna be weird for me.
allegedly, allegedly.
Well,
Uh,
he's been convicted of at least one of them now.
um, but yeah, he goes to the bathroom, mic'd up, and he's like, "You're caught, you caught, you idiot," or something.
He says,
I
"They
was like,
got you. You killed them all."
"Oh yeah, no." He goes, "What did you do?" And he goes, "I killed them." What the fuck? It's so awesome. And yes, documentary series I feel like should count because one of mine is a documentary series.
One of mine is a series too, but that's only because it is so close for me.
Okay, you're next.
Uh, I'm gonna go next. First, I wanted to highlight. John brought up one that I loved and I forgot all about. King of Kong is
Completely forgot about that
great.
one too.
King of Kong
Great,
is fantastic.
amazing.
But Flex and I are on the same wavelength because Hoop Dreams is legitimately one of the best documentaries of all time. This is 2 Chicago inner city kids that are dreaming of playing professional basketball and the different routes that they take. And it is wild to see them grow. It is very, very personal. You see, a lot of the family interactions. You see a lot of the way that they are affected by the big thing is money, sadly. But on top of that, it is just rich with information. And that was a weird thing to say after Money, but it's almost 3 hours long. It is so well done, so well directed. Obviously, when you were following kids in this type of a situation, and genuinely, when they start following them, they are kids, and it goes so deep into everything that it really feels so personal. If you were ever somebody that was on that sort of track, and not necessarily just for basketball, but you can really relate to it if you ever did sports with the random, if I ever get in a happenstance where I get to do this would be a lot of fun. And it is crazy to be able to relate to that, but again, just perfectly directed documentary.
I was on track to be a pro basketball player until my genetics stopped me from doing so. For the WAP gene.
Are you still waiting to grow to 7'3"? At this rate, it'll only take
At
you
this rate,
914 more years.
I would be ecstatic with 5'9". I would be I would be through the moon with 5'8", to be honest with you. Yeah, I have not seen Hoop Dreams. I own it. It's something I should probably watch it.
It's great. Genuinely great.
My next pick is Tiger King. And I'm picking this because that was probably the best moment in the pandemic. Everyone was home. All of us watched Tiger King, and
all in the same week.
For real, like it felt like everyone came. Like it was at the point of the pandemic where everyone was in it together before everyone was like, "Fuck this shit." It was still early enough to where everyone's like, "Oh, we got each other's backs." Fuck Carol Baskins, and like, I remember posting on Easter that year. I hope everyone has a good Easter, except for that bitch Carol Baskins, even though she's the hero. Technically, did you say WAP gene? Yes, I said WAP gene. Sorry, my spaghetti gene. But yeah, Tiger King's great. It's white trash Game of Thrones, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was awesome. And I mean, it's like one of those things. Like my parents don't watch that type of stuff. My parents watched it. My grandmother watched it. Everyone I know have seen that movie. It's so stupid, and just I was shocked. It's one of those things where like you're blown away that took over. You know what I mean? I was like, it got to the point where I was like, if Trump pardons Joe Exotic, I will vote for Trump second term. But he didn't, so yeah, I genuinely thought that was a great documentary. You didn't.
I didn't think it was I thought that it was a good moment for humanity to band together and hate somebody.
Who, Carol
But
Baskins? Killed her husband,
kind of
whacked
everybody.
him.
But I don't think that it was groundbreaking or anything like that.
No, it's definitely not groundbreaking. It's a stupid documentary about stupid people. But I'm a stupid person, so I love it.
Well, continuing from my first one, and that's the only reason I'm saying this one second. My second one is The Last Dance.
Love that.
The Bulls from the 1990s is a completely different story than anybody could ever write. The amount of drama that they went through, the amount of ups and downs of problems with coaches, problems with players, fighting on the courts, literally completing 2 different three-peats in 1 decade. The ability to have somebody that literally came from a really hard life and came up through just all of the accomplishments that Jordan did, but on top of that, to finally see somebody like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, and the Worm.
Love him. Love that man.
Even the fact that we got so much attention on Steve Kerr, all of the people that were important during that time, I adored that they were able to give everybody their fair share of the spotlight, because in
was
all
it Larry
reality,
Bird, the white guy?
Steve Kerr, Larry Bird was on the Celtics.
That's right, the white guy.
Steve Kerr is now the coach of the Golden State Warriors. So
good for him.
Yeah, So yeah, in the 90s, pretty much all of the attention was on Michael Jordan. It was, well, and then of course off court it was Dennis Rodman. But at the same time, it was so overshadowed by Michael on the court that you don't really understand how much all of these people genuinely accomplished together. And to do all that, it couldn't just be Michael on his own. It was so much that they really fought through. The Again, to have just back-to-back championships in any sport is astounding, but to do 3 in a row twice in 1 decade is crazy.
But hey, it still goes to show you though that LeBron is better than Mike. Mike needed his whole team. LeBron is just the GOAT.
I don't agree with that at all.
I'm saying that.
The Last Dance is one of the best sports documentaries
really
I've ever seen. And then on top of that, this is the one that I was saying is a series that I have, but it is the perfect length. It is 10 episodes, all of them 49, 50 minutes long, and they are all compelling. And because of the way that they filmed it, they all have a fairly internal, cohesive storyline that all contributes to the big thing, which is exactly what that story needed. So it is great. And yes, Sardis, it does show what money can buy, but it is obviously there was a lot of money during that time, but there's a lot more than that. Just genuinely getting that talent together is not easy. But then on top of that, keeping that talent together is 10 times harder.
Wait. So they won 3 championships in a row twice.
Yes, they won
so they
3
won
championships.
3 rings and then lost.
They took a break. Yeah.
And then wow. I can literally tear you apart with my bare hands. I'm so freakishly strong.
You live Nikolai Cohen out of this.
There will only be 2 Cohens when I'm done with
you. Anyways, that is my number 2. Go ahead.
Mike took a pay cut to keep that team.
He did.
See, that's what I like about people like, I mean, Michael Jordan off court, I've heard is kind of a piece of shit. But when it comes to team-wise, people like him and Tom Brady should have been the highest paid quarterback in the history of football, but actively took pay cuts so they can build a team around him. Peyton Manning never did that, and that's why he's got a fucked up neck and only 2 rings, and he's a loser. Tom Brady.
Did he get 2?
He's got 2, yeah. He got one with, just 1. He got one with the Broncos.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, what a loser, dude. But he did not take a pay cut. Brady actively took a pay cut, so Jordan and Brady are the GOATs. I cannot wait for that version of Brady.
The what version?
The Last Dance, that version of the documentary.
Documentary. Got it.
Because fucking incredible. You're the same height as me? You fucking midget. But yeah, I was never a big basketball fan, but I remember growing up, my dad is not a basketball fan now either, but would watch the Bulls. It was just a phenomenon.
Well, especially with where you guys live too.
Yeah, I mean, I have Bulls. I have a Bulls jersey. I have a Bulls hat. I was never into basketball, so I can't play it. But my next documentary, Fu mentioned it earlier. Don't Fuck with Cats. Have you seen this one?
I actually have not.
So Taylor and I watched it during the pandemic. I think we were just looking for something to start, and I was like, "Don't fuck with cats." What's this about? We hit play, and it was not at all what we were expecting it to be. It's about a guy who was posting videos on the internet with him torturing cats, and then he eventually kills somebody, and it's a group of people on the internet who was tracking this guy down and found out who he was, and incredible, just incredible, actually riveting, to the point where we were staying up till 5 in the morning trying to binge all of it. It was great. There's a Brady doc that just aired on ESPN Plus. Every episode is one of the Super Bowls he went to. Wow.
Jesus, that's a lot of episodes.
That's a full what? How many? He's got 7 rings? He's been to how many? This year was the first year without Brady or Rodgers in the playoffs in like the final game, in the
in the
championship
AFC
game.
Championship
Yeah,
game.
wild stat.
And again, the more wild stat that, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, the more wild stat is the only reason you have to say Brady or Rodgers is because there's one year Brady didn't go and Rodgers went. Otherwise, it was Brady 9 out of 10 years.
Rodgers sucks too. What a loser! One ring in 14 years. I say this as I'm renting in an apartment. So, uh,
What are we on, number 3?
number 3, yeah.
My third one. Over the last 2 years of wannabe, lockdown, less being a part of society, I have gotten more into cooking, and we've talked about that a little bit on here, and seen a lot of the Flip has seen a lot of the dishes I've made and shared with the world. But I enjoy the science behind a lot of it, and one that I love that really got me to genuinely appreciate things the first time was Hero Dreams of Sushi. Hero
Oh
Dreams
my
of
god, I
Sushi
love that documentary.
is, first of all, it's beautifully shot, but the amount of respect that it goes to show the industry, the amount of work that he goes into controlling everything about what he's doing, it really shows why things are, when they're high quality, why they're expensive like that, why it takes years to be a master. And it's just one of those things that you kind of have to see to believe how much work goes into it.
It's like my grandfather with pizza before he died. It really reminded me of the Japanese version of my grandfather. Like my grandfather was so prideful in his pizza. Like he would get up early in the morning, mix the dough by hand, make the sauce. Like he was so particular. Um, so when I watch Hero Dreams of Sushi and knowing how much work goes into the restaurant business, uh, just blown away, fascinating. I mean, that's a great documentary. As someone who is into like that world, I love that documentary. I need to go. I haven't even gone to the gym since Elden Ring came out, dude. I'm probably benching 390 now, so
You're
400.
losing gains.
I'm losing games, but I'm gaining games. Um, yeah, Hiro Sushi is fantastic. Um, is he still alive?
I don't know. I don't think that he's like a celebrity enough where they would announce his death worldwide or anything like that.
He's pretty famous. Michelin star chef. And I love that the son has like a 2 Michelin star restaurant, and the
Yep.
dad's got like a 3 Michelin star, and just like he was like, I want to be better than my dad. Which every kid wants to be better than their dad, right? But I'll
Yep.
never be better
And
than
that
my dad. He's awesome. Um,
I know I'm
uh,
better than my dad. I've got both of my legs.
yeah, buddy. Yeah, which is also part of the Food for Thought podcast. Uh, Sean and his friend Cyrus quote that quite a bit on that podcast. But yeah, buddy. Probably gonna wake up my kid. Um, my next pick probably ain't no kids coming. My next pick is
Oh,
bowling for. Speaking of kids dying, bowling
you
for
really say
Columbine.
bowling for Columbine after that? Oh God.
I didn't even mean to.
I love all of the inside jokes of the fact that your body is giving up on you, and then bowling for Columbine came after.
This is how this autistic brain works, man. Just this is beautiful. A Beautiful Mind's actually about me. Um, that's a documentary. Yeah, Bowling for Columbine. For some fucking weird reason, I watched that documentary every day as a child. I don't know why. I should know. I had no idea. I loved it. Fascinated by it. Um, Nothing to do it but to do it. Ain't nothing to do it but to do it. But yeah, Bowling for Columbine is just fascinating. I think it's Michael Moore's best documentary. Ryan and I talked afterwards. He went a little. He's like a liberal Alex Jones a little bit, kind of
Yeah.
in a weird way. Um, But yeah, Bowling for Columbine's fantastic. It's got that famous quote from Marilyn Manson, the great Marilyn Manson, where he
I love
says,
how much. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I love how much that scene really humanized Marilyn Manson, genuinely to wake a lot of people up. I'm still
until you
obviously,
find out that he's a
yeah.
POS, and he called he, he called Lana Del Rey Lasagna Del Rey. I mean, I'm not in the body shaming at all because I'm also a fat fuck, but that is such a good fucking burn.
It's great.
Lasagna Del Rey. But anyways, yeah, it humanized them, and it made my parents go, "Oh, maybe he's not a bad guy. He's just a little weird." But he ended up being a bad guy. Spoiler.
All I was trying to say is obviously Marilyn Manson was demonized for a very long time, so much so that he's one of those weird people that transcended pop culture, where people were spreading rumors that he was in Mr. Belvedere, had a rib removed so he could suck his own dick, everything. Like everybody in third grade heard those.
Did you hear that rumor too?
Of course.
Who started that? Because I heard that.
Exactly. It was probably Lasagna Del Rey.
That bitch.
But all I'm trying to say is it was a good scene to be able to show that he was, just a normal person and not some crazy lunatic. And he's still a piece of shit, believe me. Again, not sticking up for him, but he is just a human. And
Bro.
like Cohen said, he was great in Sons of Anarchy.
Dude, so good. And I actually liked his music. The past couple albums have been pretty solid too. It seems like the only shock rocker of that generation that is in the POS is Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie seems like a pretty good dude. So
Yeah,
he's a vegan. Did you know that? Since he was like in 5th grade,
I think so.
he's never done drugs.
That makes sense.
Which no, that does not make sense. He's never done drugs.
If you pay attention to the scene, it actually does make sense for a lot of those people.
Who's your favorite rocker of that era?
Oh. Not one that hasn't done drugs. If if you're gonna, well, it depends like what you label as rocker. Because I am, like I think we've talked about this before, super diehard fan of Tom Petty.
Dude, Taylor. So Taylor and I had tickets to go see Tom Petty.
Yeah,
we
we've
went
talked
to
about this like
Tennessee,
4 times
got
on
married,
here.
got too full, and didn't go see Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty, man. I think the best rockers or the best, classic rock artists of all time are Bob Seger. He very underrated, just classic. Tom Petty is number 2 for me, and number 3 probably Dylan. If I had to pick like 3 in a row. Or Allman Brothers, man, fucking slaps too.
Their guitar work is ridiculously good,
Dude. So good, so fucking good. So you didn't the big 4 heavy metal bands?
Yeah,
Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax. How would you rank them? Thrash, sorry. How would you rank them?
Well, in what? Like my entertainment or their musical ability?
Your personal opinion on enjoyment. Purely on enjoyment.
Number 4 is Anthrax with the bullet.
Yeah.
Number 3 is probably Maiden, and that's only because
no, Maiden's not on the list. It's Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax.
I meant Megadeth, not Maiden.
Okay,
the M got me.
Good.
Dave Mustaine, I can't stand him.
Neither can I.
Number 2, and this is why I had to ask, because if we were just going off of musical ability, this would be a clear number 1. But number 2 is Slayer, and I grew up as a Metallica kid.
I grew up as a Slayer kid. So for me, like that, our lists are exactly the same except for 1 and 2. Slayer is, yep. I love Slayer. I used to joke with my wife all the time. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but have you heard the guitar riff from Rain and Blood? It's fucking, it's way cooler.
And that's one song alone is musically better than anything Metallica could dream of doing. But
dude, my dad loves Eric Church, the country singer, right? And he has a live album that he plays all the time. And in the live album, you hear, and I'm like, fuck, is it the Slayer? And then it's like, whatever the fuck Eric Church sings, creeping,
This took a weird turn.
What's your favorite genre of music that people like, for like fans of, not fans, but our viewers don't know about?
I mean, honestly, Dave just said Rush. I'd probably say prog rock. Like, speaking of, this would be a good time to mention.
Coheed.
Next week will not be a live show. We're going to be recording it ahead of time and releasing it next Tuesday. But I get to go see Coheed and Cambria next Tuesday night.
I think
Uh,
one of our generation's best bands.
Easily one of the most talented for sure.
Yeah.
One of the bands that they've been touring with a lot since like 2014 has been one of my favorite bands for a long time. That's the band Thank You Scientist. And they
Mhm.
have like 9 members in their band. They bring like 24 instruments and just play the just most random off the wall stuff, and they're incredible.
I'm a big fan of black metal, uh, which is not black people
Like
playing music,
actual black metal, yeah.
like actual black metal, which is like very satanic and very like edgy. It's now that I'm older, I'm not like an edge lord like I was when I was 13. A little bit of it's a little like, but sonically, it just clicked with me. Like the very lo-fi, fucking just screeches and just people sound like they're in agony. It kind of hurts to listen to. I love it. I think that's why I like the Dark Souls and Elden Ring game so much. Is that like it's the visual version of what that is sonically. It's like like very much like that. But one of my favorite albums of recent year is The Satanist by Behemoth. Have you listened to that album?
I don't think so.
It's from start to finish one of the best modern metal albums in my opinion. And Taylor, who's very educated on the Bible, uh, was listening to some of the lyrics and she was like, "What the fuck? Like this guy knows what he's talking about, but it's horrendous." But yeah, I we should do a whole episode on metal
Could do well.
because I mean CDs are discs,
Yeah.
vinyls are just big discs.
Well, I mean, we could make surround it or an episode around music movies too.
Musicals?
No,
Okay,
movies about music.
okay. I was about to say no musicals. Not
Like
not
I
watching.
could talk about Almost Famous for like 5 hours. I love that fucking
That's a
movie.
good. That's a good. What's another movie? Oh, Wayne's World.
It's classic. And then
Classic, classic.
you don't love horror, but we got to get you into stuff like Deathgasm. Deathgasm is so much fun.
Is that the same guy who did Psycho Gorman?
I
The
don't think
guy who
so.
did Deathgasm did a movie recently,
Did
and I
he?
feel like I saw it.
Let me. Are
Oh,
you talking about
Ice
the
just said he saw
director?
Deathgasm. Yeah, the director.
The
Oh,
director is
speaking of black metal and music movies, the Lords of Chaos movie was
yeah.
fucking awful. So bad. I actually got in huge trouble in junior high because of that book. Have I told this story?
I think so. But before you go on, the guy that did Deathgasm did Guns Akimbo with Daniel Radcliffe.
That's what it was. I saw Guns Akimbo. It was all
I was like middle of the road on that movie.
right. But in junior high we did a book report, 8th grade, Mrs. Hiley's English class. Uh, it was bring your own book to school, and I brought in Lords of Chaos, the Bloody Rise of the Satanic Metal Underground, and I'm sitting there being quiet, reading my fucking book. Um, I would love that. Yeah. Um, just reading it, and she was a Christian. She walked by and saw a church burning on the front cover, took it, confiscated it from me, brought it to the office, and the office wouldn't let me take it back. They had to call my parents, and then my parents proceeded to beat the shit out of me in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And that's when I was like, this is pretty stupid.
Your last one that you talked about was Bowling for Columbine, and I forgot to mention for anybody that thinks Michael Moore has gone off the deep end a little bit, which again we both think that as well. Go back and watch his first documentary, Roger and Me. It is about the GM plant being closed in Flint, Michigan, and it is his best work. It's what got him on the map. I just want to throw that out there before I close the tab and forgot about it.
Speaking of movies and bowling, do you like Bowling for Soup?
I mean, they're talented. I don't like
I
jump to
love
listen to them at any time.
I love them, dude. 1985 was my jam. In
It was
2005.
everybody's jam.
That was such a good time period for music.
It really was.
Brand new, fucking say anything.
Brand new before they
Seosin.
were touching people.
Hey, we forgive people. And he's one of the people I forgive because he is a master musician.
Did you do your number 4? Was that Michael Moore?
Yeah, that's Michael.
All right. My number 4 then is, let me pull up a tab here. One that was put out just this last year by Gunpowder and Sky, a Vinegar Syndrome partner label.
Oh yeah.
Kid Candidate. Kid Candidate was a surprisingly good movie. It is about a kid that was, I think at the time he was running, he was only 22, I think. And his name is Hayden Pedigo. And this documentary is very short. It's like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. But it conquers, the entire race for him trying to be a part of the city council here. It shows that politics on a local level are literally identical to politics on a national level, just with very much smaller odds and smaller things at stake, basically. Really well done, really leading you to be invested in it. And then, obviously this isn't a spoiler because you could fricking Google the results of an election. He lost. And so by the end of the election, you are invested in it and just completely let down. But it was really well filmed. It was short, which again, we've talked about this before, a huge plus nowadays. If it's
Yeah.
only 70 minutes, I am all about that. So yeah, if you're interested, Kid Candidate is still available from Vinegar
I
Syndrome,
want to pick that up. That actually sounds really interesting.
and the slipcover with it is still available, and
How
it'll be on
many? How
sale on
many
the
in
next
stock?
sale. 543.
Only. Oh, only. Fuck. I'm better rush
Hardly
and get that.
anybody has wanted to see that.
Better hurry up and go get that one. My last one is Cheating as a TV show. But every episode, it's a TV show very special to my heart as a chef, as a human, as people who love people and love other cultures. Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations is every episode feels like a documentary, and I feel like no one, man, dude, it really does. Like, I'm trying not to cry. It's one of the only celebrity deaths that really fucks me up. Just every episode, you get to meet people uh, and get to experience cultures that, especially for someone who's in the middle of a cornfield, um, don't have the chance often to go and explore. He did an episode on Sicily, which whenever somebody does an episode on specifically Sicily, because everyone does Italy, they do the regions of Italy, but then no one does the island. He did an episode on Sicily, and he was able to capture my family's culture and our heritage in a really good light, and really show what makes Sicily so special compared to Italy. Um, but yeah, I still watch that show. It's like comfort food. It does. Some episodes are a little hard to get through because, like I said, even my dad loved Anthony Bourdain. My dad, I didn't even know my dad could read until I saw him reading an Anthony Bourdain book. I still don't even know if he was reading it. He was just looking at it like, "Hey, look, I'm reading." Um, but yeah, incredible. Absolutely love him. He has a documentary coming out next week or this week or something called Road. It's a CNN documentary called Road Runner.
I had no
Um,
idea.
yeah, they're doing a whole documentary on him, so I'm excited to see that. But yeah, rest in peace to the goat.
No reservations is streaming on Discovery Plus, by the way. If anybody has Discovery Plus,
All of
I
us
think
do.
honestly a lot of people do because they get it free with Verizon. But
Okay.
just want to throw that out there if you're looking for a way to watch it again, because it's been quite some time for me as well. And yeah, no reservations is special. Anthony Bourdain is just an absolute treasure, and it was a hard one for sure.
Super hard, especially like, man, like just like the way that he showed mom and pop food workers and like because it's rough. It really is rough. And to have someone in our corner never happens.
Right.
And just such a my cousin the Fonz, he actually has the same tattoo Bourdain has on his arm. And remember, like that's how much like my family loves this guy. So, yep.
Okay, so my last one, just like you, is a cheat as well, and I had to go close to my heart for this one, and that is a 2-pack of documentaries that I'm gonna suggest watching, and I'm only saying it like this because they are very similar, and that is Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories. Both of them are
Crystal Lake is great.
the full, all-encompassing documentaries about the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and the Friday the 13th franchise. And
Never heard of it.
normally these come across as super cheesy and awkward and odd, we'll say. But with these, because it is a franchise where they don't stick to things a lot of the time, it's not like there's everlasting drama other than like Friday the 13th, the fucking lawsuit. But the in-depth way that they go about these, because each one is like 4 to 6 hours long, and they are just engaging the entire time, which is shocking. They talk about all the visual effects they did. They talk about the effect that it had on pop culture as a whole. They talk about how it affected society, about how the communities responded to these films, because obviously it was, not a very common thing back then still. And yeah, they're both absolutely great.
I also want to give a shout out to TikTok. Everyone gives TikTok shit, but during this Ukrainian war that's going on, we have gotten more footage, more firsthand encounters through TikTok. And my feed right now feels like a documentary. It feels like I'm there. So my heart, for real, my heart and goes out to all the Ukrainian people out there. Tragic, what's going on, but
It's a
also
rough
so
time.
fucking badass. What a bunch of fucking badasses, man. For real.
Zelensky's crazy.
Zelensky is. If I ever meet him, I'm blowing that guy. But when it's done, I want to go there and meet these people because they're like what Texans think they are. You know what I mean? It's like when like Texans are like, got guns, nobody take my land. These people are actually it's like the modern version of 300. You have the little guy going up against the big guy. Just incredible.
The
See that farmer,
sunflower seed grandma is great.
dude. What a savage that woman was. See that farmer steal the Russian military vehicle? Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. Incredible. And it's so sad. I have a friend who lives in Ukraine, and he hasn't responded in 7 days, or no, yeah, almost 7 days. So I'm a little worried about him. But yeah, man, Ukraine is. I'm hooked to TikTok. So
Dave, I was going to mention these, but decided not to. In Search of Darkness 1 and 2 are both on Shudder, and they are great, but they are very surface level. For anybody getting into horror movies, they are incredible, but
what are they?
specifically, it's documentaries about 80s horror, all encompassing. Both
Ooh.
of them go in order from the early 80s to the late 80s, and they just go one by one with a ton of films. They are incredible. Another one I almost brought up, Fu just mentioned it here. Horror Noir is one of the best horror documentaries you can watch. It is a documentary in just on black horror. It is fantastic.
John says I hate In Search of Darkness.
And that for people, again, like John, I myself am seeped into this stuff, and they are very surface level and kind of fan service type documentaries. But if you are new to the genre, they're amazing. They are, for somebody that does not know anything about 80s horror, they're a great gateway drug. Exactly. You'd actually probably really like them. But if you grew up with that stuff, they kind of suck.
Horror movies suck. That's why I never waste my time.
Well, you can fuck right off.
I'm just gonna fuck around and find out. Are you threatening me?
I said you can fuck right off, not fuck around and find out.
I thought you said fuck around and find out. I was like, damn, Ryan. What are you gonna do? Hold my head in place so I can't hit you?
I can't reach down that far.
So throwing in some of my good picks since you all finished up here. American movie, Hearts of Darkness, Anvil, the story of Anvil, Dear Zachary, They Shall Not Grow Old. They Shall Not Grow Old, incredible.
All of them are great, yeah.
Peter Jackson's best movie.
Anvil's really good. And actually, since we're we're talking about music tonight, and I think that you and I have talked about this band before. Maybe this is out of place and shouldn't bring it up. But one of my favorite bands of all time is Zayo. I grew up with Zayo. I've seen them quite a few times. I've been on stage with Zayo multiple times. I love them. They put out a documentary in, gosh, 2005-ish, which everybody thought was like the end of the band, and they're still a band today. So the documentary that they put out is like 5 hours long and talking about all the ups and downs of the band, having people leave, starting as this band that was supposed to be about, all about God and Christianity, and then leaving with the drummer breaking up the band on stage saying, "I'm all about Satan," and all kinds of crazy stuff. The documentary is incredible.
Is Capturing the Freedmans any good?
I don't think I've seen that one.
The one about the clowns and they end up being all pedophiles or something. Speaking of band documentaries, a documentary that literally changed my life, the Horse the Band, like 24-hour documentary that they put out. It's from their Europe tour that they self-funded and they were broke during it, and it is one of the most incredible watches I've ever seen. I watched it in like a course of a week. It was just magical, incredible. And Horse the Band is quite literally the greatest band in history.
So Ice brought up the last thing I wanted to say about documentaries, and in my mind, I think that there are two perfect documentarians. One is Ken Burns. Ken Burns is literally the best documentarian in feature-length type documentaries of all time. And then the other one is Louis Theroux from the UK. He has done quite a few hour and a half long episodes, you would call them, about just random shit. He came here and did stuff on Westboro Baptist Church multiple times, and his work is unparalleled. He does incredible stuff. He gets right into like drug dens and interviewing people, seeing how it affects their lives. Louis Theroux is one of the best of all time.
Also, I watched Tinder Swindler.
I don't even know what that is.
You haven't heard Tinder Swindler? It's blown up. It's a Netflix doc that came out like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh no, dang, haven't heard about it at all.
About this dude who posed as a billionaire, and he would match with girls on Tinder, and then he would pick them up and take them on private jets. He had yachts, fucking bodyguards, all this shit, and then he would get them. He would he would show them footage of like his house getting broken into and be like, "Oh my god, my assets are frozen. I'm in jail. Can you take a loan for like $100,000 and send me the money?" And these women did it. And that's how he was affording all this shit. He had fucking jets and shit. So in their mind, and he like had enough stuff on the internet to where it showed that he was a billionaire. Like he faked all this shit. Is by the guy. Oh, the same guy who did the Jinx. Ooh, I might have to watch that. But yeah, just and fascinating. But also goes to show you that when this shit happens to women, they make a whole documentary about it. Even though this happens to men regularly, all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Just when girls get some good dick, and then they're like, and they're like, oh fuck, gotta make a whole Netflix documentary. But that guy, he went to prison or went to jail. He's out. And now he is doing club appearances and charging the clubs $20K for an appearance. So he's
still swindling.
Savvy. He's a savvy dude, and he's like hot. He's a hot Jewish guy, good looking. If like some dude picks you up in a private limo and then takes you to his private jet, and then takes you to his private like fucking New York apartment and fucks your brains out, you're like, yeah, this dude's a billionaire. Fuck yeah. And then he's like, hey, take a loan for $150,000 or whatever. You're gonna do it.
Because he's a billionaire.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good documentary, and it's so funny at the same time. These women are just like, yeah, is Bang Bus considered? Now, see, that is a good question.
I mean, it is scripted.
Because I am a documentary connoisseur. What's your favorite?
Huh?
What's your favorite?
Episode number 17.
What?
What?
What's your favorite episode of that show?
I have no idea.
Brian.
I've honestly never seen one.
Ryan. Really, you haven't seen it?
Nope.
Great documentary. Highly recommend. You really haven't seen any of those? I don't know if you're fucking with me because I can't. I don't know. I believe there's an Australian guy who sold the Statue of Liberty in the Eiffel Tower to some gullible people.
That makes sense.
What? Good for him. That's awesome. What's another? I'm trying to think of another documentary. I had one on the tip of my tongue.
On the top of your tongue.
Um, fuck, I forgot. Tinder Swindler is good. You and the wife should watch that one. Really, really
I
good.
think I
Oh,
need to look into Capturing the Freedmans too.
yeah, I need to watch. I need to see that because that Jinx documentary was phenomenal.
Oh, I didn't even see Foo's comment here. What was that Dr. Dre docuseries called that was dope if you're a hip hop fan? It is really well done.
Does it show the scene where he took a reporter, beat the fuck out of her, and threw her down some stairs? Did it show that? No.
I don't.
Wow. Wow. What a guy.
There's so much I want to say.
What? Say it.
I mean, all I would say is Rihanna's not a big fan because she relates.
I love the Bill Burr bit where it's like, "Hey, I'm not saying what you did was bad. But I just want to know what the fuck she said to him." Oh, but she's having a baby with A$AP Rocky now. Do you know A$AP Rocky?
I've listened to him. I don't like.
Do you like
I've
him?
never met him.
Are you a rap fan?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Who's your top 5?
Like modern or all time?
All time.
Oh god. I probably have to lead with Biz Marquee. I've put so much time into Biz throughout my life.
Okay.
I also, speaking of modern, I adore Kendrick Lamar. I've been following him like since he first came out. Legitimately, being from California, there was a couple, literally twice, I was supposed to go see him, and stuff happened, and I didn't get to go. It was before he exploded, and I'm still pissed about those. All time. I mean, obviously Eminem. I got to give it up for what he can do. And then, I also really liked NWA back in the day. And then,
what's that stand for?
Nobody wants anything.
Anal. Oh.
I kind of probably have to go basic and end with Wu-Tang there.
I would say Wu-Tang. Man, it's tough. Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep are like 1 and 2 for me. I'm a big fan of Run the Jewels. I've seen Run the Jewels.
Run the Jewels is up there for me too.
I've seen Run the Jewels live more than anybody else. Incredible, and they come out every time to "We Are the Champions" by Queen. Fucking great. Run the Jewels. Suicide Boys. I love Suicide Boys. And then it changes. The last spot changes. I'm a big fan of Biggie. I'm more of an East Coast guy than I am a West Coast guy.
I've flipped quite a few times throughout the years.
Wu-Tang is so good. I mean, even like spin off stuff like Czarface. Have you heard of Czarface?
No.
Oh, it's so fucking good. Nice. Oh, Action Bronson.
Action Bronson
slaps. Top 5. Who's your top 5 favorite death metal bands?
I gotta be honest. I've really only ever listened to a few, and the one that I love the most, I can't even think of the name, and I've been trying to think about their name for the last couple months, legitimately, because I want to find the album that I used to listen to all the time, and I can't think of it.
Can you describe it to me?
I believe they were from Norway, and
Norway.
they used to. All they ever did, everything was stylized around winter. All of their albums was all about snow. No, their name was not that. I think I can't remember. Yeah, they were, for some reason they were associated with the Christian metal scene, but I don't think they were Christians.
It's not Amon Amarth, is it?
No,
they're great.
Yeah, they're not bad.
No. not Christian, but tied to it. Um, I'm trying to think because that sounds familiar. Do you have like a song? Like, do you know how like a song goes?
Not anymore. It has literally been like 17 years since I've listened to their music. And it's killing me. Again, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I swear this is exactly true. I was driving where I was taking my kids somewhere, and my oldest kid likes to listen to music in the car. My youngest kid still wants to watch like fucking Teen Titans and stuff like that on
Hell
our
yeah!
little portable DVD player. So the oldest kid tells me to put on my playlist instead of his playlist, and he gets music recommendations for me and says, "I liked that. Put it on my playlist." And we're going, and an Underoath song come on, and he said that he liked the change from when they were singing quietly to started screaming, and I was
What
like,
band?
"Ah, Underoath."
Under okay.
And so I was like, I've got the perfect song for you. And I went scrolling and it was not in my playlist anymore. It's just disappeared over the years. And I can't think of what the fuck it was. And I think he would love it. And it's so much heavier because it's death metal, but I can't think of it.
Foo says I'll never understand Cannibal Corpse. They said that their songs are horror movies. Like they're just trying to be as grotesque as possible. Like I Come Blood is a classic. But yeah, all their stuff is just supposed to be sonic versions of horror movies. And I mean, they're still solid. Like they put out an album last year and 2 years ago, still putting out solid stuff. Um, right now, I'm listening to a band called Brand of Sacrifice a lot. Uh, they're great. Their album Lifeblood's really good. Paleface is really good. Lorna Shore is kicking ass this year. Chelsea Grin. Uh,
I
and
can't stand Chelsea Grin.
No, they're with the new singer. Do you like their new
I
stuff?
I don't know if I've listened to any of the new stuff, but I
Their
tried
new
listening
singer
to
is like an anti-vax, whacked out nut job, but his vocals are incredible. He's in a band called Darko. That I fucking love. Darko rocks, dude. Super cool. Dissection. Did you ever listen to Dissection?
Nope.
Great. Well, they're more black metal, but not blackened death metal. Yeah. You want to wrap it up?
Sure.
Cattle Decapitation rocks, dude. I love Cattle Decapitation. I still have the book. I think Choosing Death: The History of Black, or the History of Death Metal, like how it started. Have you heard of the band Anal Nathric?
I don't think so.
One of my favorite bands ever. Just sonically, just insane. You've lost me. Gonna check out and watch Movie Hoarders on Tubi. See you Friday.
Have a good night,
Love you,
Stardust.
Stardust. Have a good one. We're getting ready to get off anyway. Stardust is. I wonder what Stardust listens to.
He's already checked out.
With the name Stardust, I feel like he's a big polka fan.
Polka can be great. Like I love Weird Al.
I've always made the joke I'm gonna start a polka infused death metal band and called Polka Your Eyes Out.
I think that was the name of a ska album.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Ska. Okay, there we go. What's your favorite ska band?
Oh God, Streetlight Manifesto by a long shot.
Oh yeah.
I love Streetlight. I'm still a ska person. I listen to ska probably 5 or 8 times a week.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Is Rancid
But
ska?
no. I mean, they had a couple of songs that kind of dipped into it, but I was a marching band kid, so ska is everything I want.
I played trombone. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Real Big Fish.
Real Big Fish.
Less Than Jake.
Was my none. Ska is terrible. Dude, but okay, one last story before we go, and it has to do with ska, okay? My cousin was dating this absolute psychopath when we were out. And we're in the car together, and she plays ska, and my cousin immediately, once he hears, like immediately turns it off and says, ska sucks, and puts back on whatever the fuck he was listening to. And she went ballistic, dude. I've never seen somebody have a fit. And then I was personally scared to listen to ska at that, like since that moment. Because she was like, all you do is talk about how bad ska is. And he was like, yeah, it's terrible. And just pure meltdown. Fantastic. You should play Can You Identify These Metal Bands of their typography? Ooh, we should do that. Ryan, just Google black metal logo real quick and just give me 5 random ones. I want to see if I can do it before we
I mean, how am I going to do this without you seeing like the name of it?
go. That's true. Who says ska is awful too? Was Operation Ivy ska?
Oh yeah.
That was Rancid before Rancid. Did you ever get into like AFI? I loved AFI. Not ska.
I mean, I like a couple of their hits, but that's it.
You didn't like Sing the Sorrow or The Art of Drowning or any of those albums?
Yeah.
Oh man, they were so good. The Phoenix.
I honestly, I don't
Phoenix.
even know if I can name another song other than Miss Murder.
What about Girls Not Great?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was probably. Hey, Miss. I used to want to do my bangs like Davey Havoc. Hey, Miss Murder, can I take my life? Whoa. Is there a ska album called Skod? Oh, that emo music is trash. What? Did you just say emo? You say emo's
Emo is
trash?
such a wide genre that is full of just amazing music.
You listen to American football, Champaign, Illinois represent. And you tell me that is not a fucking masterpiece of a album, dude. Do you like American football?
I mean, of course. I'm human.
Did you find me some logos?
Well. The best thing I can do is this. I don't know if I've done this in a long time. You remember what Sporkle is?
No, what is that?
It's a quiz site.
Okay.
And I typed in black metal typography quiz, and this came up.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's do this shit. All right. All right. The bottom right is Marduk. Number 13 is Marduk. Come on, shut the fuck up, bitch.
It sounds like you have Chucky in your house.
Number 4 is Dark Throne. Number 9 is Emperor, obviously. That's an easy one. Number 6 is Demi Borgir. That's their old logo.
Jesus.
Fuck. Number 1, I know the band. Does it start with a T?
I don't see any of the answers yet.
Okay,
in fact, I think we have to type them in to find out the answers.
Oh shit! All right, well let's not do that. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. But what? Yeah, what in the F was that? That was my daughter's pig. Look, it looks just like me.
Anyways, Flip is busy tonight, has some other plans, so wants an early show. So thanks everybody for hanging out on your Tuesday night. We will be on again next Tuesday. Again, it will not be live, but we will be recording it ahead of time and putting it up on Tuesday. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Go watch the documentary. We appreciate you. Have a good week.
Or don't watch the documentary and watch whatever you want.